So what did you learn about writing as a way
Oh
as
yeah.
a segue
Hmm.
into your I don't know, fourth or fifth profession here?
Yes.
Uh, what did you
I
learn about writing from the CIA, and what do you dismiss? I mean, the CIA, the analytic part of the CIA has a like the Ten Commandments of writing that were etched in stone, and some of them are
right.
good, and some of them are not good. So, what do you have to say
Oh,
about that?
I feel like I learned so much about writing. Um, the clarity, being able to be clear and precise. Analysts, we love this word granularity, right? And that's using the most precise language with the fewest amount of words, but also to be the clearest, to write in the clearest way. And that concept of granularity has really guided me as a writer, especially as a nonfiction writer and a fiction writer.
Interesting.
Really trying to find that one word or that sentence construction that really is going to be the simplest yet most specific. And that's really I think one of the biggest things that I carry with me. Another one of the big concepts that I learned is that, right, if you have your analytical heading, everything underneath that analytical heading has to back that heading up. No tangents, no fluff, no unrelated stuff. And that means you have to have some shorter paper, then you have a shorter paper.
It's like the opposite of academic writing. Like you can't
Right.
get too thoughtful, like, oh, this would be interesting, but let me bring you back. It's like you don't do that.
Yeah, it's just very crisp. And in my own writing, obviously, there's, when you're not writing in this very specific format for this very specific audience, you have leeway to change that. But I do find when I'm reading other people's books, it's more nonfiction than not. They go off on tangents, and I'm like, how is this related to what you were just talking about? Like, where's the organization here? Why are we talking about this and then going back to that? Like, was your editor sleeping? Like, what's going on here? So, and people tell me with my own writing, they're like, wow, you're so clear, you're so organized. Like, you made these really complex topics really easy to understand. And I'm like, well, yeah, I worked at the CIA for 8, 9 years. That's what we did. So being able to effectively convey complex, complicated ideas and sometimes very emotional ideas. Now, does my writing get misinterpreted by people? Absolutely, because humans are emotional creatures and we will read into what we want to read into them and not even understand that we're reading into reading into it that way. But I would say, yeah, clarity of language and organization, this sort of fractal approach to writing, right? So you've
More
got the
about that.
big swirl.
Say more about that. First, you're the first
Yeah,
person I've heard say that.
really.
The
The
fractal
so
approach to
the
writing.
fractals. Yeah, so right, the is it I'm gonna get this wrong. Mandelbrot?
Yes,
Hmm.
yes, yep,
Haha,
Mandelbrot. Yep.
got it.
There's also a
Right.
Julia set.
Is there?
It's really Julia, but yeah.
Oh, okay. Right, so you've got this swirl of the fractal, and on the edge of the swirl, there are other little swirls that are just small versions of the big swirl. And on those small swirls are little smaller ones that are just smaller versions of the medium one of the big one.
Right.
So all the little parts support the medium part, and all the medium parts support the big part. So you could look at the big fractal and get an idea of what the shape is, color, form, without needing to read all the little parts or look at the little parts. You still have a good idea of what this image is. But if you want more detail, you can zoom in and get more detail. And if you want more detail than that, you can zoom in and get more detail. And in a world where people are so pressed for time and we're so busy and we're so overwhelmed, I think it's really important for writing to use that approach. If someone just reads your topic sentence, they're going to know what the rest of that paragraph is about. And if they want evidence, examples, footnotes, they can go and take the time and read that. But you don't want to introduce a paragraph and not tell the reader, okay, here's what we're going to be talking about. So I also look at writing as an opportunity for the writer to provide road signs in a way. So transitions, topic sentences, these are road signs. Say, okay, we're going to be talking about this now. We're going to be talking about this now, and so on and so forth. But the fractal approach, I think about that all the time.
Interesting.